Hi everyone, my name is Jamie Crawford, and today I'm going to teach you how to use a resource called SpellingCity.com. First, to get onto Spelling City, you can either open up your web browser like I do on this screen, or you can go to the App Store. Both will have it. You can go to Google. I just type in Spelling City, and I can click, and I get to the website. To go to the App Store, you can also just search, if you look up here where it says Vocabulary Spelling City, if you search that in the App Store on a Apple device, any device with an App Store, you should be able to access it. To create an account, it's super easy. If you just hit register and you fill out this form, and you scroll to the bottom and hit submit and continue, and you will create a free account. The account that's free is great. It gives you a lot of features. I personally paid for a premium account, and I'm going to show you what that looks like here. So if I scroll down and I log in, you can see me pull up my account here. And a premium account, if you want 25 licenses, so 25 different students to be on Spelling City, you have to pay $60. It seems like a lot, but you get a lot of very different resources from it. So I paid for it because I thought it was personally valuable. With a free account, you can take different spelling tests. And I'll show you an example of that. So if you already have like a spelling choice board in your classroom, you can actually have them do all the spelling activities that you have them do in class on paper pencil, and then you can come onto Spelling City and it'll give the test to them. And so then that just saves you as a teacher some time, especially if you're a teacher that does differentiated spelling lists based on your kids' reading level. Now, when you want to access Spelling City, it's available on any device that has Wi-Fi. So it is something that requires Wi-Fi to use. Even on the app on your phone, you'll need some kind of Wi-Fi, or if it's on a phone, LTE network, whatever works for you. All right, so let's go through and just kind of play with some of the features on here. So I'm going to show what a premium account looks like for the majority of this, but I will highlight what comes with a free account. So if you're just kind of curious what you can get for free, you can check it out here. So I'm logged in, and this is my dashboard, and it will kind of show me some basic information. So this is my student activity. I just started using this in my classroom. And so my kids have used it for about 200 minutes. I've been integrating it into my reading small groups, and it's been working really, really well. Now, if I want to go look at my student test activity, this is where I can look and I can get a quick glance at how many of my students have completed different activities. So this is our spelling list for our story we're currently on. They haven't taken the test yet. They're actually taking it tomorrow. So it's all incomplete right now. But if I wanted to go look at vocabulary, I need to change it to the list that I use, which is Dear Mr. Winston Vocabulary. And I'm going to go look at vocabulary test practice. And I can see that 18 students have completed it, and there's one student that hasn't. And so I can kind of get an idea of where my students are at, which I think is really cool. I can also see assignment activity. I can see people that are in progress, people that haven't started on this activity that I've set up, and I can see how many students have completed it. So just kind of a little more of a detailed look. This is really cool. If you just kind of need more information, they have all kinds of trainings right here. So how to create an assignment, what the student view looks like, grading student writing. There's a writing feature on here, and you actually go in and grade it, but it's right there and it gives students feedback. It's really cool. Creating lists, and I can manage student created lists. I haven't used this feature, so if you try it out, let me know. And then managing your student roster. All right, so now if I want to create an assignment, so let's say I want my students to go in and practice. So I'm going to hit this button, Assignments. And down here you can see my listed assignments, and I can see, okay, 3 of my students have finished their spelling practice. Most of my kids have finished their vocabulary practice. No one has taken the spelling test. And I actually specifically assigned decoding practice to 5 of my students just because they need the extra decoding practice. And so that's a cool way to differentiate. I have 19 students, but I can give different groups different assignments to increase the rigor. So if I want to create an assignment, I'm going to hit Create an Assignment. And I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to pick a list. So these are lists that I created. And I'm going to go in. So let's say I want to do a spelling activity. I click this and it takes me to a new tab. And notice that it says you can only select up to 10 activities. And it actually suggests that you maybe only do a few to start, like 2 or 3. 1, because students are learning how to play the games, and 2, if you have long spelling lists, like 20 words or more, the activities take a long time because they go through every single word. So really be selective about your activities, but know that because you're being selective, you can switch up activities often, which keeps kids engaged. So I can filter my results. Right now it's showing me all the games I can play, but they have phonics games, spelling games, vocabulary, language arts, writing. I can do just tests or just having them study. So if I'm doing a spelling list, I'm probably going to just go ahead and sort my results into spelling. And I can scroll down and I can see all the different games I can play here. And there's a test. So this Spelling Test Me is the test that the kids can play. This is on the free feature. So please take advantage of it. It's so awesome. I absolutely love it. If you're curious how a game looks, you can go in. So I don't know what missing letter means. So I can go in and press this play button. And I can actually play the game myself. So I can go in and play the game.
Missing letter.
Whoa.
Find the missing letter that completes each word. Spark.
So I can.
Spark.
So now I can see how the game plays, and I can play along too, just to see what my students are going to do. So let's say I like that activity, the missing letter, so I can hit this plus sign. And it's going to add it to the side over here, my selected activities. And then let's say I like the game Word Unscramble, so I'm going to hit add. And then after that, I want them to practice their spelling test. And then at the very end, I want them to actually take the test, so I'm going to add those. So now I have 4 activities here. And what's really cool is I can move them. So let's say I want them to do a practice spelling test first as like a pre-test. I could put that first. Then they can practice here with missing letter and Word Unscramble, and then they can take the test again. Then I can scroll down and there's some really cool options here. I can save as an assignment preset. So let's say I want them to do the same activities every week. I can save this as a preset, and then when I go, it doesn't matter what spelling list I use, it'll just do the same activities. I personally don't use this, but it's good to know if you're just going to give the test every week because you bought the free account, save as an assignment preset. That's a really good feature. So then once I have my activities chosen, I'm going to hit this next button right down here. So next. And then I'm going to select students. Just for FERPA requirements, I can't show you my students, but you go in and you can, there's like squares here, and I can select students. If I select this box here, it's going to select all my students. But let's say I only want a couple students, I can go in and individually select their names by hitting the same box next to their names. And so let's say I want to assign all, so I'll hit next. And then it's going to ask me to finalize the details of assignments. So I can add instructions for my students. So if I wanted to type in my own personal instructions, I could here. I'm not going to. My students tend to understand what to do, and the games do a really good job of showing you. Do I want students to complete activities in the order I assigned? Yes, for me I do, because I have them doing a pre-test and a post-test, so I want to see their growth. If they're just playing some of the games, then maybe your answer is no. Then I can set a start date. I can do it on a specific day. I know when it's a spelling test day, I usually just put it on the test day only. That way kids can't take the test early. But that's just me. So start date, we'll just say today, and due date, we'll say tomorrow. Great. And then I hit finish. And then I can add a title to my assignment. So this is where I usually name it, because this is what your kids are going to see. So I usually name it by the story we're on. So let's say I'm reading Because of Winn-Dixie. And then I'm going to write at the end of it, this is our spelling list, so I'm going to write spelling. That way my kids can see, okay, this is the right list because of Winn-Dixie, and I'm doing spelling. Great. I hit save assignment. And that assignment will appear right here at the top, and I can see. No students have started it, but I see the start date, the end date, and I can always go back in and edit. I can delete it, or I can group this. Group means I haven't created any groups, but it just means I can group students and say, like, this is always going to be their assignment. Alrighty. And that's how you share it. And once your students log in, they will be able to access these activities. So let's say we want to go to student view. So I want to log in as one of my students. So this is what his screen's going to look like. So he logs on, and this is what it looks like. He sees, okay, I have Because of Winn-Dixie spelling as an assignment, and I have this other assignment here, and he can go in and start. And it won't let him go to the next activity until he does this first one, which is really nice. And I can see, oh, he completed this one, but he needs to do this one still, and he's going here. All right. Now, so a couple of things that I've talked about it using for, you can do vocabulary, you can do spelling. I'm not going to have an opportunity to show all the games, but I can tell you that I really like it for vocabulary and spelling, especially for a small group, because it's something students can do and independently. For the Bloom's level, this honestly is more knowledge-based. It's kind of regurgitating, just practicing. Spelling is kind of one of those, just knowledge-based, you know how to spell. And also applying with vocabulary. They have to use it in context, which is really, really good. It's really good practice for them. For the SAMR, this is more augmentation, because I can give these activities in person. However, I can't give them immediate feedback. And that's what Vocabulary and Spelling City does, is it offers students immediate feedback, and they can go in and correct their work right there. And I think that's what makes it a really awesome tool in the classroom, because feedback is really hard for teachers. So if we can offer automatic feedback, especially through technology, I'm going to use it personally. I did want to show you one more thing, creating a list. So let's go to list management here and create a list. And I can title the list here.